whole process of making tallow. We do it all right here. All these animals came from our ranch, from our farm system. We're complete stewards from the breeding of these animals, the growing of these animals, the process of turning these animals into steak and tallow. So today we're going to talk tallow. So all of our tallow comes from what's called suet. This is fat. This is suet. The suet is the fat on the inside of the animal that protects the organs. So this suet is what God put on the inside. It's a different type of fat. It's more nutrient dense. And it's the fat that sits around the liver and the kidneys, a little bit around the heart. And it protects the organs inside the animal. It acts as kind of a protection. It's an insulation for those organs, the most precious part of that animal, to keep it safe and healthy. So this is the suet that we take and make tallow with. So now Mia here is going to separate this chunk of meat, which is called, it might just be trim. ¿Esta tiene un llama, Jesus? ¿This is carne or trim? ¿Cómo? Flat meat and flank steak. So she pulled out the flat meat and the flank steak and separated just the fat there into the suet. So she pulled the flank steak and the flat meat off, and then that is the collection. We'll go follow that along to the tallow room. Thanks, Mia. Muchas gracias. It's Jason.
Yeah.
You're a supermodel.
Yeah. Think you here?
What's that?
Think you right here?
Yeah, should we grind it?
Oh, we gotta chunk it up first.
Okay. So now we chunk it up before it goes in the grinder. Al 100?
We'll do it in the grinder.
We'll chunk this up. That was just chunked up. Now we go dump that. Then we grind it. This just makes it so that it renders easier and faster. So the grinding process is just to help support the rendering process. Just takes that suet, takes it down. You can see there's a little bit of meat in there. Some of the meat in there, that's problematic. We're going to have to pull that out during the process, but most of it is just pure suet, pure fat, the high density fat in that animal. All right, so now Jason's going to hand the ground suet. This is our initial heating vat. It's the big old pasteurizer. Just dump it in there. So that'll go into there, and then it initiates, this is the rendering process. So you just melt down that suet as it gets rendered. So that's fresh suet going into already partially rendered suet. It'll melt down. We'll start pulling off any of the chunks of meat. So we'll start scooping out. Can you show us your screener? Oh, right here. So now Bree's gonna pull out any of the junk that's not gonna render, any of the fat, or this, what do you call it? The fat and the meat that is just different consistency. It's not gonna render down. She'll dump into here. This will go feed the chickens. Take this to the chickens, feed it to the chickens, and then after it melts down, as it melts down, it'll just come into here. So this is all pretty fresh, but as it melts, the rendered tallow will come into here. For 24 hours, it sits in here and just warms. It's 165 for 24 hours. Then we'll do another filtering process through here. So the tallow, after it sits for 24 hours, we'll filter it through these. And then this will either put it in a bucket or a jar or a box, depending if we're going to nourished, if we're going to French fryer tallow, or if we're going to put it in a jar for our soap maker and our skincare stuff. So it'll just go into the different boxes or jars or containers from here.